Hi there, Leslie M. Thornton, Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss. Is it just me, or have we all been catapulted super fast into the summer months lately? It seems that, and I totally understand why, that we're all headed out, we're all doing things again, we're having picnics, we're having parties, right? The summer stuff is starting. And to be perfectly honest, I haven't noticed that tremendous of a shift. But I was thinking back today about years ago before I had done the work that we do at Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss, before I had achieved that peace and freedom around food, body, and weight, right? That these were extremely triggering times for me. And if that's you right now in any way, shape, or form, I want to let you know that I feel you. I'm really sorry about that. It's not fun. And the stuff, kinds of stuff that I'm talking about is, re-entering into social circles again and not wanting to wear your bathing suit or not wanting to go swimming at a social event because you hate the way that your body looks, or making excuses to stay at home and not be able, and you're eating a bag of chips at home while you're saying that you don't want to go out and be social, right? The isolator part of you kicks in. And I get that. I 100% do. It was so comforting for me to buy whatever comfort foods that I wanted to buy and sit by myself at home or even in my bed and just eat things and like numb away. And at the same time, be kicking myself and saying, why am I doing this? Like I couldn't even actually enjoy it. It wasn't like I was like doing that in an empowered way. It was like I was doing that and like mad at myself for saying no to going to that place, or maybe backing out last minute, or one of the patterns that I would have because of all the things that the mind can bring up when we're faced with having to be seen, with being visible. And fast forward to today, after I've done the hypnosis, all of the deep healing work, having everything, all the tools that we give you in the program, it's easy. My day to day is exactly the same, right? The difference is that now it got a little bit more fun because I can do the same thing that I do normally, but just with other people that are there. And when I say the same thing, I mean, have a cocktail, have a hot dog and french fries, have an ice cream cone, like wear a bathing suit. Just know it's a non issue. Like imagine what that would be like for you to have it be a non issue. It's a non issue. Right. And I have clients who they still, when they come to us, it's like, I can't put that bathing suit on. Right. It's just like, I just hate my body too much. I just immediately see it's emotional. Right. It's like that I'm a failure and like, I can't believe it. And then every year, right, it's like almost exhausting to talk about because it was just my life for so long. And I know that if you're listening to this, that's been your life for so long. And I'm really sorry about that. Right. And I want to let you know that it can be a different way. Right. There was just some things that happened in the background, and maybe your family was too obsessed with food and body and weight, or your mom didn't instill too much confidence in you, or you had some parents that wouldn't say really uplifting or confidence boosting things to you all the time. And so therefore you're the one who's now taken on their voice of telling you of like, hey, pretty good, but you need to do better next time. Or hey, we expect higher of you. Or hey, maybe if you just cut back on some of that, you know, nighttime eating, then you wouldn't be in the rut that you're in today, right? That like harsh, unkind voice. It's not kind. It's not kind. And you're over there saying those things to yourself. And then you're judging yourself, right? Even as I said that, like, you're right, I am doing that. I'm the worst for doing that. But like you're doing it again, right? It's the judgment on top of the judgment, on top of the inner critic, on top of the negative thinking. It's just bombarding you. And no matter how many episodes of this that you listen to, no matter how much you want to make your way out, or all the things, no matter how good your intentions are, right? I have a client right now, and the word that I used was spiritual bypass, right? Like she knows things, and I just need to be mindful with my bites, and I need to be eating like this. I don't know about you, but whenever someone told me to be mindful about my bites, I like hated them immediately. It's like, yeah, I know that. right? And again, it would get to that point where it's like knowing makes no difference. He said, okay, yes, I know that you know to be mindful with your bites, but like, is that actually doing it for you? Like, does that have consistent, lasting results? She's like, yeah. It's like, in my experience, it's actually owning and feeling and seeing the 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 stuff behind the curtain, right? Like actually being brave enough to take a look at, hey, there are things in my life that are not really firing on all cylinders right now. Not really happy about that. And it's manifesting in the way that I'm eating. It's manifesting in my food. And so when we're in a season like summer, it's like all these parts, right? Our perfectionist part can come out, right? Of being like, oh, well, first I'll lose this weight and then I'll wear a bathing suit, right? Or, our critical part can come out, our baby part that can like cry and like be like, I need, shelter from this situation, or, right? Like all those different parts, they're just, they're just all out to play. And it's awful for you because it's just that voice. Like I remember specifically being like, a part of me wants to lose the weight and a part of me wants to enjoy my life with my family, and those two parts were arguing day after day after day after day after day. And eventually, because that argument was so strong, it just got to the point where it was like, I am so exhausted that I'm just going to eat. And it'd be like, oh, the perfection part of me that was trying to be perfect all day today just lost it. And now here we are again. Right. And when I was following that super strict food program, my perfectionist part was super happy. So the perfectionist part would be the one that I would consider to be like that runner's high, or that high when you lose that weight, when you step on that scale, when you're like cooking with gas on a diet and you're like, yes, oh yeah, the weight is going down. I'm on a roll. I can do this. Right. Like when we see the numbers moving in the right way, all of a sudden we have all this, beautiful, nice feelings and things around. And it makes us feel like that's who we are and that's what we want. Yes, we all want to feel that way. And we are all human beings, human beings that experience emotions, that have different human beings coming in for relationships, that may eat a different way or enjoy life in a different way. And we can't experience that because we're so trying to protect our way. Because if we go down another way, we have pain and suffering. We can't stay on a diet forever. Right? There are people that, choose to, and like they end up staying on it. But the difference is that, yes, they're choosing to versus I have to do this because I'm broken or I'm an addict, the way that I did when I did it. That's why it didn't last. It wasn't an authentic choice. It wasn't my authentic truth. It made a lot of sense to call myself a food addict at the time. Like, yeah, I can't control myself. And yeah, all these types of things. So I went down that rabbit hole. But then it just didn't make sense because, again, I saw this other person who food addict tendencies, and she was able to gain complete peace and freedom around food, body, and weight when she had come all the way from bulimia. So it's like, if that's possible, then for her, then why not for me? I'm smart. Like I can handle that. Right. And some people maybe, they stay on that way of eating for the rest of their life, and that's okay. And they'll stay in that cycle. And maybe that's as far as their consciousness wants to go. And that's fine. Right. That might be serving their life. And for some of us, though, we're capping off our potential. You know that you're smart. You know that like you can achieve things that you set your mind to. You just need to know the steps for how to do it. Right? The steps for how to break free from that prison. Right? So summertime can be triggering. It can be really triggering. There's a lot of skin that's showing, right? There's a lot of people that are looking, there's a lot of bathing suit action, all that kind of stuff. But what if you were to use it this summer as an opportunity to blast past that negative mental chatter that's been holding you back the entire time? Something that I say to my clients all the time is that while you're in my program, for you to use everything that's happening as a way to continue healing, a way to continue observing, what's automatically going through your subconscious all the time. Is that help is that thought helpful, or is that thought hurtful? Is that a thought that I want to keep close, or is that a thought that I really am not getting much out of? Right. And then over time, once you actually stop and study and observe your patterns and behaviors, right, and then get that coaching at the same time of like, here are the action steps to get past that fear of going back into your family, or that fear of eating a hot dog and fries, or that fear of whatever, having other people see you, or that fear of someone taking a photograph of you. There's a way to get out of that, practical ways. But you have to be hungry for that. You have to be hungry for a summer that's different than the last. And it's not going to happen until you happen. Right. So listening to this podcast is great, but it's only scratching the surface. Right. We got to pull back that curtain. We got to extract out that painful stuff that could be in the background. For some of you, it may be more painful than others. Right. But it's just that willingness. It's that facing that fear and that commitment to getting out of what's really happening on the other side, and that desire for wanting the freedom from food and acceptance of self and body and having peace around food and weight, that has to outweigh that desire to have your perfectionist part always be kicking in. We have to find who you are authentically. Let go of mom, let go of dad, let go of grandparents, let go of your, ethnic background, let go of your upbringing, your schooling. What about you? What works for you? What kind of body do you want to have? What kind of eating do you want to have? What makes you feel good? Such an amazing part of your path of life that some people don't even get to experience, to just stay in that rabbit hole. So I'm so glad that you found us. And by the way, if you haven't joined us yet, we have a Mighty Network group for all the podcast listeners. So you can go ahead, it's totally free, just a way for us all to be able to connect. The link is bit.ly, bit.ly/HPWL network. Can't wait to see you there.